Hello everyone, and welcome to Intercultural Literacies. In this video, I'm going to briefly introduce you to our course and also to the Canvas site and how I have it set up using the modules function. Using modules, which are basically containers on the front page of our Canvas site, will make it easier for you to keep track of what you need to do each week of our course. But before we get to the modules, let's take a look at the syllabus. You'll notice that when you sign on to our Canvas site, it will take you to the home page where you will see the modules. In order to see the full syllabus, you'll want to click on the word syllabus about halfway down the list. Here you'll see some general information, such as my contact information, and a description of the course, along with the learning objectives. As you know, our Intercultural Literacies summer course is going to be asynchronous and online. What that means is that there will never be a time when you are mandated to be on our Canvas site at the same time as everyone else. Instead, you'll do all of the work due for a given week, and you will complete that by Sunday at midnight. And then on Monday morning, the new week will amp up. The course description explains our approach to intercultural literacies in WRTC. And basically, we examine critical approaches to intercultural communication, but we do that beyond ethnic and racial lines. We also are going to be looking at key theories of identity and difference and intercultural communication practices, but we will take a very expansive definition of the word culture, and we will also take an expanded definition of the word literacies. So those are things to know. So you've got your learning objectives here. We will talk about major models of culture developed in professional settings. We will analyze audience in various contexts and respond with appropriate rhetorical approaches. That will happen mostly in discussions as well as in your seminar papers. We will identify the rhetorical choices communicators make to facilitate communication across culture and produce text sensitive to cultural difference. You do not need to buy a textbook for this course. However, we will read this popular text by Susan Cain called The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking, so please do get yourself a copy of that as soon as possible. You are very welcome to read the Kindle version. If you prefer not to do that, then you can get a copy out of the library or just purchase a hard copy for yourself. Most of your readings are going to appear as PDF files and links from the Canvas site. As well, there are a few videos. A couple of those are going to be on YouTube, and a couple more are going to be accessible to you via Netflix, Amazon Instant Video, or Google Play. And so I make note on the syllabus of where you can find a given resource on the day it's assigned. If you take a look at the grading scale, you're going to see that it's a pretty standard one. But I give you a note that says that if you score in the A and B range, you are going to be someone who is exceptional and who is showing above and beyond effort. Average work usually warrants a C, but that's nothing to be concerned about. For example, I did teach this course 2 summers ago, and every student did earn an A in the course because they were engaged, because they did the work. So it's nothing to be overly worried about, but it's something to be aware that you do want to make sure you're putting in maximum effort. You've got some policies there on academic honesty, on dropping courses, about accommodations and things like that. Obviously, inclement weather is not really going to apply since our course is online. The Writing Center, which is an excellent resource, does have summer hours, so make sure you check that out. And then below here, we've got your schedule of readings and writing assignments. The course is basically broken up into units, the first of which is intercultural communication and discourse. So, one place where you can see everything that's due for a given week is, of course, on the syllabus schedule. So right now we are having the introduction to the course. Below this video, you're going to see one that will ask you to introduce yourself to the rest of us. You've got a short essay assigned That's going to be 2 to 3 pages on a counterculture that you are familiar with. You will introduce the rest of us to that counterculture's way of being in the world or its ontologies. 2 to 3 pages. Then you're going to have some reading to do. Alice Walker's Everyday Use is a short story, and you'll very quickly ascertain the reason that I assigned that when you start to read it. You'll read an excerpt from a great book called Communication and the Globalization of Culture Beyond Traditional Borders. Really, really fascinating read. And then you'll skim a chapter from Erin Meyer's The Culture Map, Breaking Through the Invisible Boundaries of Global Business. So I'm not going to read you the entire syllabus, but this just gives you an example of sort of how to read the syllabus. You'll also screen 2 short TED Talks, and you'll take a look at your seminar paper assignment. All you have to do during week 1, in fact, is to take a look at it. Then if you notice, right, week 1 goes from our start date, May 15th, until the following Sunday, the 21st. The next Monday picks up with week 2. And then you're going to see everything that you need to pay attention to during week 2, and so on. At the bottom of the syllabus, you're going to see the course summary. That will tell you what is due when. So I'm going to explain what instigators are when I go through your assignments. So let's skip here. Each of the first 5 weeks of our course, you will write for me a short essay of 2 to 3 pages, and the topic is given in assignments. You'll also write a final paper, a seminar paper. So the due dates for all of those items are there. Let's take a look at assignments next. Assignments are going to give you a breakdown of what your final grade will be comprised of. So you can see that 25% of your grade, approximately 5 points each, are going to be your short essays. Your seminar paper is going to make up 40% of your total final grade, and your instigators and responses are going to make up the last 35. So let's take a look at these things. Let's begin with the seminar papers because that's the longest assignment and may be a bit intimidating, so it could be good to take a look. The length of this formal paper is going to be 12 to 15 double-spaced pages. That is 12-point font, Times New Roman with 1-inch margins. I say MLA because that's what we use typically in WRDC, but we also do use APA, and since I know there are a number of nursing doctoral students in the course, I would encourage you to use APA because that is obviously what you're going to have to use in your own career in publishing. There are a few smaller deadlines for this assignment to make it less intimidating. So by the end of week 2, I'm asking you to post a topic. You are going to intentionally, I've given you a lot of readings and other things during the first 2 weeks so that you would have some ideas from which to draw a potential seminar paper topic. Then you're going to gather some sources. Your sources will be due to the discussion board by June 4th so that we can all comment. Your completed paper draft of 12 to 15 double-spaced pages is going to be due by June 23rd at midnight, which is the last day of the course. I am going to go through this assignment in greater detail, but just so you have a very rudimentary understanding of what the assignment is, it's going to give you a purpose there. We'll go through that more. And I give you some sample topics so that you can have an idea of the range of possibilities that are available to you for the seminar paper. Let's go back to assignments. Okay. The instigators are going to be your sort of day-to-day posting on our discussion board. So on the discussion board each week, I have set up spaces for you to respond thoughtfully to readings and film screenings. Your posts are instigators in the fact that you are trying to incite a conversation. I assign them for a few different reasons. These responses get you to actively engage with the texts you are reading or screening. The online publication via our discussion board will help everyone to keep track of themes and concepts we are covering, especially as we're going rather quickly. And incorporating these readings and films into your seminar paper is going to be a lot easier for you if you are already accustomed to producing critical commentary on what we are reading and screening on a regular basis. These are not handed in via assignments. Instead, you put your instigator right up on the discussion board under the appropriate discussion. At the end of the semester, I'm going to assess your entire collection. And that's why the due date, which is not going to say this when you look at it, is going to be the last day of classes. Your goal in an instigator is going to be twofold. You're going to want to spark a discussion in the form of an informal and low-stakes setting. You're not writing something polished and finished. You're demonstrating your intellect, you're teaching us something new, and you're pointing us toward a nuanced way of understanding the reading or the film. Beyond these goals, you can write whatever you want. You could identify a textual crux, something that really merits elucidation. You could take an issue with an argument. You could perform a close reading on a text. You want to proofread these things and use complete sentences, preferably, but they are not essays, so be free and speculative and experimental. Be provocative and creative even. And you could even make your posts multimodal, and I'll talk more about that. Each week, I'm going to ask you to also try to respond thoughtfully to at least 3 posts from your classmates. Responses should not just be I agree with you or I disagree with you. They should say something more than I like this. You want to be specific and you want to be generative. Think of the instigator posts as space to interact with others meaningfully. So basically, the discussion board and the instigators take the place of time we would spend in class if we were meeting face-to-face. So they can be quite important. So what I would expect is, for example, after you have a chance to screen the Myers and Riccardi YouTube videos, that you would hit reply and you would start to post your instigator following the instructions that are written up in the assignments. That said, let's say that you are not really into typing and you want to talk out your ideas. You can also hit this icon for record or upload media. Once you get there, it's going to ask you, first of all, if you want to do a video recording or an audio recording only. So this is going to do a talking head video, and this is going to record your voice in the style of a podcast. Let's try both. Sometimes it will take your computer just a minute to connect. And once it does connect, you'll see your face pop up in the recorder. Alternatively, if you ask your computer instead to just make an audio recording, it will instead connect to the audio recorder. So you would just click here to make your audio recording. So in other words, what I'm suggesting is that when you introduce yourself to the rest of us, that you create a talking head video just from the outset so that we can see your face and hear you speaking to the rest of us and learn a little bit more about you through that process. So what you would do is you would introduce yourself. So you would give us your name and maybe tell us a bit about why you're taking the class and what your experiences have been with intercultural communications or literacies, what you're up to this summer perhaps. And then when you're done recording, you want to hit the button. And then hit save. Your media comment will appear here, and then you'll hit save down here. And what you're going to see is in our discussion board section labeled Introduce Yourself, you'll find a bunch of talking heads from all of your peers. So that what you'll be able to do is to scroll through. Now let's say that this is a recording that another student has made. Then I could watch it, but I could also reply. I could reply with words like, that's so interesting that you will be spending your summer also in Virginia and that's where I'll be. Or I could make my own talking head and reply. So it's kind of trying to approximate what it would be like for all of us to meet in person and to talk a bit in person about why we are all taking this course at this time. So this concludes our basic introduction to the course, where hopefully you've learned a little bit more about what you'll find on our Canvas site and what's expected of you throughout the first week as well as in the course in general. So what I would ask you to do is, at this point, since I'm still in the process of making week 1 videos, you'll see some other content loaded under Introduction to Course, please screen all. And so you'll tend to those things. And then you'll move yourself through the week's readings. And then you're going to take a look at this week's videos, which again are YouTube videos. They're not very lengthy. And then you will take a look at the instructions for instigators and responses that will apply to the entire 6 weeks term. And then you'll complete your instigator responses for the readings and the screenings from this week. And you will complete your 2 to 3 page first short essay and take a peek at your seminar paper. Please get in touch with me with any questions or concerns. I very much look forward to taking a look at your Introduce Yourself videos so that I can learn more about how I can help you to be successful in this summer course. Thanks so much.